Good evening, everyone. It is April 13th, 2023. Going to start over here on the ES. Now, on both tickers, of course, we had a massive trend up session after that liquidation into the close yesterday. What I was looking for was for shorts to be somewhat aggressive this morning, and I wanted to see us hold that 41.28 to 32 above there. To me, it was looking like we were setting up to travel back to 55, if not 75. What I wanted to see was us hold that 28 to 32 and then slam this thing down to 40.82, if not lower. So for me, this is the first time since that since that quarter end ramp that I would say sellers have been caught offside. I think the whale who has been sitting on this thing for the past 2 weeks or so has been doing a really great job, but today they did fail. Now, tomorrow we do have retail numbers coming out pre-market. Notably, I want to also say that we have bank numbers coming out. The bank earnings are being released pre-market, and I do think that might cause the market to wiggle around a bit just because banks have been the hot topic of the market. I'm not looking for anything major, but that is something to note. Now, if we start accepting over 41.83, so sort of this green zone over here, I've got it 83 to 91. If we accept over this zone, I will likely be calling it a week, as I think we will be heading towards 42.30. So I will be holding off on shorting this thing unless we do get to 42.30 and are not leaving behind multiple sets of single prints. I will be getting short at 42.30. Now, let's recap the day just a little bit. I want to hide these drawings. What did we have? Well, I want to note that we didn't have much interest around yesterday's lows. So yesterday's lows came in around 41.13. We spent a little bit of time there around the first 2-3 hours of Globex, but ever since then we just kind of traded above that zone during the entire Globex session. Same thing on the NQ. We ended up chopping around in the morning during this first 30 minutes or so, repeatedly holding or sticking on to settlement lows at 28.75. Last week half back at 30, value area low was somewhere around 30. Last week's POC 31, blah blah blah. So 28.32 was the area we let go of, and once we did, this thing just started to rip and trend up the rest of the day. I don't think there was a rotation to the downside bigger than 8 points. Just very one-sided and just very evident of a squeeze being played. I want to also pull up the CVD here, or the cumulative volume delta, and I want to note that the CVD was very strong today. It was not a situation like sometimes where we have just mindless short covering like we did yesterday in the afternoon. So we've got two of them up. There we go. Look at this CVD. Once we popped sellers, you can see this thing just continued to ramp higher and higher and higher, eventually getting towards that 100,000-ish number where we started to stall out into the close around that 41.75, which has been the key number. Yesterday, in opposition to that, when we had this rally occurring off the D period lows, CVD never got higher than it never even got to zero. Honestly, we rallied 30 points, 35 points. It never even broke the zero line. This was just short covering, whereas this was genuinely a combination of a whale getting squeezed and someone really pushing this thing up. So to me, keeping all this in mind, I'm actually going to be looking to buy dips tomorrow. That's how I'm going to be looking at this. Not only did we have someone in the individual ES market getting squeezed, we had someone buying, we had the heavyweights, your big tech sort of thing, with them ripping to the upside. This thing to me was just all around a very bid session. We had five sets of single prints going into the close. Very unusual. One set there, another set, another, and another. I believe 5 sets of single prints. So to me, just indicating an unusually large amount of upward momentum or upward pressure, just no rotations downwards. That's all that says to me, and obviously catching people short while doing so. Now, that 73 number where we did start to stall out, not only has that been important in general, that is last week's third standard deviation of VWAP. It's also where we held during that CPI session, and interesting that we did not even crack it. So I'm going to just hold this. Interesting. So we did not get to it at 77.75. So I may edit this plan a little bit later, because that is interesting to me that we're unable to run that high. I'm curious what happens over the overnight here now as we hold it and move up. Now, how am I looking to trade this? Let's talk about it. Well, we left a lot of auctions on this. What would that be? 50-point ramp up. This one being our major auction, right around 30. Perhaps the plan will be to take it 32s long, so getting that acceptance above the level if this auction holds. I'm not getting long 44s, where we had a developing point of control. Getting long 55s after we tag the VWAP close from today, the RTH VWAP close at 41.53. So taking that area along this 55 half, which has been such critical resistance all week long, just taking it long as support, and then getting short at 72s. I want to be short 72s if we open somewhere in this range. Just the idea being that we haven't tested that VWAP close or anything down below or any of these auctions. So I'd like to be short 72s above there. Getting short at 83s, that representing, I think it's the Q1 95% area value area high. Getting short 88 or 91 somewhere in there, and then I will actually likely hold off on these 42.01, 41.99.5, and replace that with a 42.30 short way up here. I doubt we'll be getting those. I think for the most part we'll end up staying inside kind of this area and then selling down to something like 44.55. Now on the NQ, let's talk about that for a second. Very similar story, very linear squeeze upwards, no surprises there. We opened above that critical level at 13,012. That was the area I wanted to see us open down below, and unfortunately we did hold that, and that has just been critical support. We got to 075, which was where we had the yesterday's point of control, the weekly point of control developing, the monthly point of control developing, last month's 95% value area high, all that sort of stuff. So I was short 75s, and you can see that we're just repeatedly holding the bid here. That was our settlement lows, so that was Tuesday's low of day that we just kept on holding, and once we got acceptance over that level, much like on ES on that 32 side, we just squeezed up. We did not tag VWAP all session long. We did not tag the full external trading hours of VWAP since 8:30 a.m. And that lasted for the entire session. There were just no moves downwards. We eventually got into the major area I've been talking about, which is that 231, the same area that we tagged during CPI. Interesting on NQ as well, we did not manage to take out these overnight highs. So to me, much like on ES, it's evident we had squeezes and genuine buying occurring. Let me just pull up the CVD on the NQ. The NQs tends to be lower. However, look at this, getting up to about 70,000. That is rare on NQ. You can see yesterday we have not had a number that high in a long, long time. I think, yeah, at the end of the month we had a number somewhere around there. So to me, that was also another more evidence of not just short covering, but genuine buy-ins occurring. So you have a combination of trapped shorts if we move down, as well as initiative buying that should show up. So much like on ES, I'm just taking that same approach of getting long that primary auction in the morning, 66 quarter, getting long that secondary auction at 26 half, getting long 58 half after a tag of 139. It's the same idea, just waiting for that tag of yesterday's VWAP close and then getting long at the level at 58 half. Similarly, getting short at 209.75, that being the distributive point of control shift we had late in the day, that sessional point of control shifting up at 209s. If we gap up, taking, at 206s, if we do gap up, taking that 209 number long. Now, I will note that once again, just like on ES, we have not taken that overnight high, so that will be something I'll be watching overnight to see what develops there. If we break that number, honestly, I'm not interested in much until a short at 311. That being the quarterly high, that also being where we kind of auctioned around on that Tuesday, April 4th session before falling down, much like we did that same Tuesday, I believe, at 4160. I believe that was the number 57.75 it might have been. So 10-minute video once again, but that's how I'm looking to trade this. I'm looking to trade the long side, not interested down below there. So just kind of interested in something like this, taking those auctions long, looking to see what I can get there. Yes, same thing, just taking those auctions long, not really interested in playing below 30. I think we might get a liquidation scenario if that occurs. We should be ideally holding 44, 55 is aggressive. Similarly, we should be holding 26, 58 is aggressive on the NAS. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. It might be a messy day tomorrow, especially if banks really get us to wiggle around. So I will be watching for that, and there will be an update to this pre-market to Twitter per usual. Have a great night and trade safe.